Alright, so we're going to pick up with the Summertide Scales and Tails event, and we're going to do Kirara's quest.
So, are you all set? Ready to start investigating?
We're all good.
Great! Then let's go! I've delivered packages all over, but I've never seen a mysterious fairy tale world like this before. Looks like nobody has gotten around to repairing this house yet. Ugh, even I wouldn't dare to sleep in there. It might suddenly collapse in on you. Nothing to see here either. Maybe we can find someone to ask? Aha! Over there! I bet we'll find some people there. Let's go take a look. Uh-huh. I was sure there'd be people here.
There once was a goddess who ruled over fate. Before she died, she left 3 riddles for the kingdom she had created.
What? Who said that?
Long story short, on this day, a sentient feline, an outlander, and a diminutive pixie arrived on the scene. They saw a narrow path off to the side.
Okay, but which side?
Yeah, if you gave ambiguous instructions like that to a Comania Express courier, they'd give you the parcel right back and tell you to write the delivery address more clearly.
Despite how obvious the answer was, the perplexed pixie and the flummoxed feline struggled to work it out. Although, perhaps a small part of the blame could be attributed to my dull narration. Alright, let's try this again. The path on the left-hand side seemed to give off an enticing fragrance, as if to say, this is the way to wealth and glory.
Ooh, that sounds like the start of a good story. Then what? Then what?
Oh god.
At the end of the path, the motley crew would soon spot a secret stone room. A prophecy had once foretold of a marquis who shall one day venture inside, and thus it is named the Future Marquis's Abode to Be. You like it? The Future Marquis's Abode to Be? Got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
That was a little bit boastful.
But before you continue, I must warn you of the danger that lies ahead. For example, under... are you sure you don't want to hear the rest? I'll keep this brief. Firstly, the place ahead of you...
What's going on?
Oh, hear me out, all right? I'm sorry for resorting to extreme measures, but I'm trying to help here. Don't worry, the fencing will disappear as soon as I'm done talking.
So are you some sort of fence-spawning yokai?
I'll keep this brief. Firstly, the place ahead of you is a secret room whose purpose, per the legends, is to await the arrival of a certain marquis. For that reason, it's called the Future Marquis's Abode to Be. Secondly, when you get inside, don't sit on the chair in the center, or bad things will happen. There, that's all. Off you go.
So many summers, winters, springs, and falls, and now at last a hero hither strides.
This realm knows not what lies beyond its walls. Its secrets mystify the world outside.
Wait, new voices. Who are they?
With wood and earthenware strewn all around, the demon feline's fury can't be quelled. Reducing them to rubble on the ground, she finds the vessel's vacant save for... air?
She finds long gone the gems that once they held.
Are they describing how we broke the boxes and jars?
Who are you calling demon feline?
guess I gotta read the text on the paper. Name of the elders of our 3 tribes, we hereby form this pact that from this day forth our people shall harm no other no more. No more shall we drip glue into each other's breakfasts, nor strike each other's heads with pickaxes, nor secretly drink growth serum that does not belong to us. We acknowledge the truth that has been determined by the great clockwork key. We shall see the family of truth as supreme. 3 witnesses to history within the future Marquise's abode to be, quietly waiting the Marquise of Carabas, who is foretold will pluck up the great clockwork key. Let this esteemed one guide us, revealing 1 truth and 2 fictions. Of course, if the highest house has not been selected, then may we yet contend in private, within permissible limits. But no more glue. It does far not too much harm and is utterly humane.
Captivated by the epic poetry and enthralled by the outstanding storytelling, the Outlanders knew what their next objective was. Namely, to remove the clockwork key from the raised platform up ahead.
Captain, I just realized you said we all had to speak like bards, but every time you open up your mouth, I don't hear any rhymes.
Oh god.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's one standard for us and another for you. That's not fair, Cape.
So long as the audience thinks that seeing is believing, there's no...
Perhaps the Outlanders are worried that something drastic will happen the moment they remove it. Maybe that's why they're investigating the area thoroughly first. Can't fault them for that. I'm wondering if we can take advantage of this downtime to discuss whether we really need to keep this up.
Oh, if you guys don't want to put on a voice and speak in verse, be my guest. Just don't blame me for your own poetic...
As the strong as stone, firm as steel, the Outlander pulls, but it does not yield.
This has happened many times before, but this time is different. A thought enters the Outlander's mind. Attack! The Outlander's comrades urge him on. Keep up the attack! Don't give up halfway!
We didn't want to interrupt because listening to you guys argue is pretty entertaining. But seriously, I'm not about to cheerlead for someone attacking an inanimate object. That's just embarrassing.
Cape, speaking of not giving up halfway, shouldn't that also apply to our performance as bards?
I wouldn't give him that much credit. He didn't give up halfway, he quit before it began! The attack's now over! Only one final step remains!
Now it is the time to seize...
But alas, as was the case for all those who had come before, the key still did not move an inch. Wait, what? They got it out?
Yes! Finally! Come on, move your butts! And your legs, assuming they're still in working order. It's showtime!
No hard feelings about your lack of poetic contributions?
Oh, let it go! Ah! Welcome, esteemed and noble Outlander. Allow us to introduce ourselves.
We represent the 3 great clans of this realm, having been selected as its authorized historical supervisors.
Our purpose being to await the arrival of one such as yourselves, who shall remove the clockwork key.
My name is...
You're Cape, he's Albizzi, and that's Bobarano, right? You've done so much talking that we can already tell you apart by your voices.
Aren't we missing someone, though? The guy who led us here to begin with?
Who?
And thus was born the long-awaited fellowship, destined to uncover the truth of the past. Allow me to quote, if I may, in the history of Constellation Metropole, a new page has begun.
Him.
Well, there's no 4th person, so which of you is the ventriloquist? Come on, out with it.
We've never heard that voice before, but he sounds like he'd be good at reading bedtime stories to children.
Well, whoever it is, I don't know and I don't care. Forget about him. We have far more important things to focus on. Like, where our journey goes from here.
That key you hold is the pivot point about which the past and present of the Metropole revolve. However, between our three clans, there is some dispute over the historical record.
Each clan has its own version of history, detailing the clan's origins and the tale of the Dragon of Old. And unfortunately, we don't know which one is the truth.
Dragon? You mean the one that's been acting up recently?
Oh, no, not that one, you adorable little pixie. When I say Dragon of Old...
He means a dragon that would be really, really old if it was still with us today, but it was defeated in ancient times. The new one has nothing to do with our clan history.
Was that supposed to be a joke? Anyway, so you've been waiting for someone to remove the key so you can finally explore the truth of the past?
Not just explore it, but argue incessantly about it. Honestly, I don't care that much. Cape's the one who's always bothering us about it.
What we need to figure out is who resolved the dragon crisis. We have to know that before we can decide which is the supreme clan.
The moment you removed the key from where it was lodged, you became the honorary Marquis. We humbly beseech you, noble Outlander.
Call me Traveler.
Noble Traveler Marquis, we ask you to help us. You and your talking Puss in Boots and the pale floating pixie.
Puss in Boots? Are you serious? It's better than demon feline, but still.
Embrace it, my friend, embrace it. Most cats don't wear boots or speak, do they?
I'm not even a cat, I'm a Nekomata. Now that you know the word, I expect you to use it.
Please allow me to lead you all to a sacred memorial site. It will be much easier to explain what needs to be done once we are there.
Uh-oh.
This place is sacred to my clan. It's where our brave forefathers once took up arms against the Dragon of Old.
Is that what that faint footprint-looking thing is, or is that from the current dragon?
After a bitter battle that dragged on for many days and nights, finally, our forefathers fought the dragon into submission, and it fled. They took turns, though. Some forefathers worked the day shift, while others worked the night shift.
So they worked shifts while the poor dragon had to work around the clock?
So they say. It's just a legend, though.
Wait a second? Did I just hear you admit that your clan's history is just a legend?
History, legend, who cares? My clan was definitely courageous, that's the point. That's the truth. And isn't the truth what we've all been arguing about non-stop for all these years?
Cape's words gave the traveler food for thought. Could it be that the truth in a fictional world is equivalent to fiction in the real world?
Why'd you have to put it that way?
But that would have to wait. Apparently, Cape was not alone in his pilgrimage to this sacred site. Unwanted company had arrived. The traveler and the talking cat, Nekomata, decided to teach them some manners.
Life goes on.
This is order.
Step on up!
Wow. A true display of heroism and valor. It was as if the spirits of my ancestors were fighting through you.
Here's a thought. Could be wrong, but maybe the Traveler Marquis is...
Your martial prowess and show of courage are a more vivid reenactment of my ancestors' feats that suit the modern aesthetic. Now, let's get down to business. As we all know, time is but an illusion. Time may flow line by line, page by page, or frame by frame, but usually it flows in the form of springs and gears.
And that clockwork key you have in your hand can turn back time and make the past reappear.
Well, actually, my view is that the illusion of time is more of a problem of consciousness. Gears power the body, while the body is the vessel of the conscious mind.
Oh boy.
But the mind cannot understand the dimension of time, so we experience instead an endless continuum of moments as the pinion of now turns along the rack of ages.
I'm getting flashbacks to when I was delivering packages to the Sumeru Academia.
A teacher once asked Albizzi what his greatest fear was, and he replied, dragons. Boberano was asked the same question. He replied, time, and repeated the argument we just heard. The teacher then turned to Cape and posed the same question. He replied, Boberano.
The manuscript that tells the truth of the historical record, the blueprint to all of creation, the work of the great mage themselves. It can be found at the beginning of the Girak, and on the very first page of the book.
Paimon didn't follow all that, but basically, you're just saying that we need to put the key in and turn it all the way back?
Exactly. It is said that in the beginning, the goddess of creation took the goddess of fate's manuscript as a blueprint, placed it under the goddess of prophecy's starry realm, and generated the world from a few magic arrays. So in a few moments, when the great clockwork key turns the local time here back to the very beginning, we will restore the magic arrays back to their original configurations.
Hold on, isn't stealing part of the blueprint of creation a little dangerous? Also, how are we supposed to know the original configurations of the magic arrays?
Well, the general shapes of the configurations have been passed down over the ages. They now form the family crests of each of our clans. So you'll just need to reference my family crest and join the dots accordingly.
Okay, so kind of like a backwards Z with a tail.
To address your other concern, when the house has already been built, do you really think that taking away the construction crew and blueprint will cause it to collapse?
The Traveller Marquis prepares to insert the great clockwork key into the nearby keyhole.
Wait.
I guess we should start here?
Behold, the sacred writings that record the truth of... No, wait. That have shaped the truth of history. Gather round and let us bear witness.
Brave Francis mounted the haystack, picked up a fork, and planted its tine down atop the mountain of grass. Behind him was a large, bright moon. He shouted out the names of everyone in the village. The village chief was first to be named, and so frightened was he that he wished to climb up the haystack and stop up Francis's mouth. Are you crazy? You're yelling so loudly the dragon might show up. You good for nothing. Have you not seen how the windmill everyone built has been destroyed by the dragon? And here you are, worrying if it'll return? Francis really would have loved to kick him off the haystack, but he held back given that the chief, too, was worried for the villagers' safety. Francis saw that night all the villagers had arrived, and so he cleared his throat. Dear neighbors and kin, think you still that we must endure this? No, of course not, but we cannot do anything about the dragon, said the grocer. Who says so? Did I not leap onto its neck from the windmill blades and step on it twice, and did it not fall down and flee? Perhaps everyone worked so hard to build the mill that was destroyed, everyone's emotions became inflamed. Lifting their fists, they decided to take on the dragon. But Francis lifted his own hands and calmed the crowd. Let us go home for today, everyone. Everyone's present lack of self-preservation is not bravery, but rather wrath. If we yet desire to face the dragon after calming ourselves, only then may we truthfully call our sentiment valor. So everyone went home. The next day there were still many youngsters who wished to follow Francis to take on the wicked dragon. Who would have known that the valiant possess the protection of the goddess's radiant character? charter. Encountering true valor, the dragon could neither spout fire nor slash with claws, and was forced to follow the other party, or forced to allow the other party to call pauses and switch personnel. And so, after several days and nights of fierce fighting, the wicked dragon could no longer bear it and chose to surrender.
Feast your eyes, rejoice, and cheer, for this is the unquestionable truth. Look at the signature. Nobody is capable of forging that.
I don't believe it. So, all along, our histories have been false?
Don't lose heart, Albizzi. It does not follow from his is true that ours are false.
That might be the most bogus logic I've ever heard. But keep up the mental gymnastics, Boberano. I've been waiting for that look of jealousy on your face my whole life, and I'm gonna savor it.
And yet, it seemed that this conundrum could indeed have more than one solution. Everyone agreed that there may be more than one truth. The party decided to visit the sacred sites of the other clans and see what their documents had to say.
Isn't a narrator supposed to remain detached and objective? It feels like you're forcing a narrative agenda on us here. Well, whatever. I'm in a good mood. Let's do it. The instructions say to repeat the process 3 times, and besides, I'm looking forward to watching you both be sorely disappointed.
Let's do my clan next. I'll lead the way.
We'll need the key again, right? Let me see if I can pull it out. Yoink!
The party finds no pedestal in which to place the great clockwork key, only a locked door.
Where's your clan's pedestal? Oh, let me guess, you hid it away in advance to save yourself the embarrassment of having it exposed as a fake?
You done? Okay. Now, since my clan's main claim to fame is...
Misinformation, half-truths, and fabrication.
Ah, shut up, Cape.
Shut up, Cape.
I swear, if I wind up dead one day, the murderer was Boberano. Let those be my last words.
My clan's claim to fame is that we outwitted the dragon of old and stole its treasure. Ergo, all articles of value that we own, including the pedestal for the clockwork key, lie behind that door.
So, next step is open the door?
Almost. There's one step before that. The door is protected by a smart interrogation system. We have to answer its questions, and if we get them wrong, we will alert law enforcement.
Jeez. Well, do you at least know the answers?
The correction fluid of time has dyed white the pages of the Book of Wisdom. No, I don't know the answers. But worry not. I had a quick word with the constabulary in advance. They'll ignore the alarm if we get the questions wrong, so answer without fear.
There is no response on the door, and nothing unusual about it. Knock on the door.
Question 1. Who is it?
The great yokai, Nekomata in boots.
And the trusty travel guide, Pixie! Travel guide! Trusty travel guide!
Question 2. By which virtue did the ancients defeat the dragon?
I'm going to say wisdom for this one.
If this is the right answer, I swear I'll...
Correct!
What? A barefaced lie. So low.
Question 3. Which is more real? The fiction of the outside world, or the truth of this world?
Perhaps both are equally real.
Hear, hear! Who can be sure that the outside world isn't just a dream? And that when the dreamer wakes up, they won't just find themselves inside a novel? There is no way to know, therefore both are equally real.
All correct. You may have the key pedestal.
Traveler Marquis, you know what must be done. Please insert the great clockwork key. Oh, and this is my family crest.
Okay.
Do we really need this one?
How do I reset this? I think... Did I reset this? That's how. Okay. Can I view the shape of the crest again? Also, can I open up these chests? I cannot. 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there's only 5 things, so I need to bypass one. Maybe I was doing it right and just ignore the other one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was right to ignore it.
Now, let me see what
elaborate fiction the Clan of Wisdom was able to conjure up.
If anyone's listening, I would like to submit these as my last words. I surrender. I'm the one who murdered Cappe.
Wise Antonio, in the basement of the crumbling house, began reading the ancient book he had found. His oil lamps shook from time to time as the swaying structure above ground collapsed. The village was to be symbolically raised by the dragon, and he had been chosen by the dragon, for he had not returned home. But Antonio did not care. He only wished to study the book the old lady had given him on the bridge he passed today. This book was titled The Radiant Charter, and within he recorded all the rules that every being in Simulanka must follow. It was written in the language of the world's creation at the very start, and if Antonio was not possessed of extraordinary wisdom and deciphered this primordial text, there would have been no study to be had. This book recorded no solutions as to resolving the difficulty that Constellation Satellite presently faced, nor did it contain any hexes that could aid Antonio in repairing his old home. But he knew that wisdom was the mightiest thing in the world. The morning light shone through the ruins of his home, and the neighboring blacksmith and chubby chef took great pains to get rid of the house's wreckage, which blocked the basement's hatch. With dark circles about his eyes, Antonio said to the chubby chief, "I shall defeat the dragon. I will return soon." "Are you sure you're all right? You don't look like you got any sleep." "Just smoke from the oil lamp. Don't worry about it." The dragon sat atop a mountain of treasures, gazing down at insignificant little Antonio, walking closer. Flames gathered in its throat, preparing to burn the area 1 centimeter before him, all the better to scare this puny, foolish creature away. "Halt! I'm a qualified second-class Meister. The Radiant Charter states that should I refuse a duel, you cannot use force." This restriction did indeed exist, and so the wicked dragon swallowed its flames whole. Ah, how it dreaded going to the toilet tomorrow! Antonio, for his part, had not expected that the second-class rust-clearing Meister qualifications exam he had taken on a lark would come in useful. And since I am a second-class Meister, I propose a duel of riddles. You cannot refuse. Now, Simulacra had just such a law, mainly for the benefit of sphinxes, old sages, and princesses who asked or who wished to make life hard for others. The evil dragon had not expected this rule to catch up with it. I shall ask the first question. My house sold for 8,000 more yesterday, but I thought there was room to raise the price, so I bought it back for 9,000, planning to sell it for 10,000. How much more did I lose in the end? The dragon laughed in contempt. What's so hard about that? You could have waited until it hit 10,000 to make your move, but you sold for 8 and bought for 9, so you lost 1,000 more that you could have earned instead. Wrong. You burned my house down yesterday and I couldn't sell it in time, so I've lost far more. Sorry, I mean I do have to burn a house and you happen to not be home, so I might as well hit one that doesn't result in any loss of life. Now that you've lost this contest, I have the right to loot of the same value as your life, minus 1 more. And considering that you've burned my house, I can seek damages. Let's assume that my house is worth just 1 mora. Well then, Wicked Dragon, you know what to do with yourself. Please spare me, I'll give you anything. Your words, not mine. Antonio said he's pulled out a contract he had written long ago. Thus did Antonio use his wisdom to take all the evil dragon's treasure. The dragon, devastated, would never return to attack Constellation Satellite, where Antonio lived. Many years later, a child asked Antonio, "You sold your place for 8,000 and spent 9,000 buying it back, so it looks like you actually did lose 1,000 mora." He lied to the dragon? I mean, his house did burn down. But did he lie to the dragon?
Look! My clan's history is true as well! There's that same unforgeable signature again, right here!
What? Oh, does this mean that my clan is the only odd one out?
Given that my clan's wisdom is such a subject of ridicule in your eyes, I will now appeal to my own personal intelligence, which I believe far surpasses that of my clan at large, and make a prediction. It seems likely that the claims made by each of our clans regarding their history and virtue are all true.
Boberano? How can that be?
Oh, I get what's going on. Once, when I was drinking with Gujiyai, she bet me a round of dried fish that I couldn't guess which cup the umeboshi was under. Whichever one I guessed, I was always wrong, and Gujiyai would lift a different cup to reveal the umeboshi. But then, I learned later from one of the shrine maidens, Miyuki, that all of the cups had an umeboshi under them. Just goes to show, I still got a long way to go before I become a great yokai.
Oh, don't mind Fox Lady. That's just her way of teasing you.
Actually, that reminds me. We can now open these 3 treasure chests. And unlike the guessing game you mentioned, this one's not a trick.
Cool. Well, once you've plundered the last of Boberano's family wealth, we can go to my clan's place.
Treasure
Guess I'll
chest!
take the clockwork key again then. Yoink!
That's not too far from here, so I'll just go this way. I'm caught on the rope. What the?
The cohort of truth seekers followed Albizzi to his clan's sacred site. They arrived to the site of a giant guard towering over them.
Up ahead is my clan's gigantified guard. He can be a little pig-headed, and he's incredibly strong. Your weapons won't even scratch him.
Wait, but wasn't Kappei's clan the one that's all about strength? So, what do you guys believe in then?
Oh, the guard is one of Kappei's people. Size is a coveted trait in the clan of strength, after all. Mine is the clan of empathy, and our key contribution is growth serum!
What's sympathetic about that?
Our ancestors believed that, just maybe, the dragon of old didn't mean us any harm at all. Perhaps the dragon simply didn't notice us, since we are so very tiny. So, they drank the growth serum and grew even larger than the dragon. Then, they set the dragon down, calmly explained their perspective, and eventually taught it how to empathize. The serum isn't what it once was, though. Nowadays, it doesn't make you grow all that much, and it actually makes you lose your empathy. So, I advise we take a detour.
Despite Albizzi's words of caution, somebody, no doubt, has other ideas. Surely we could avoid a conflict with the guard, they think to themselves, if we could just try to understand one another. You could, of course, just take the path to your left and go around. But some people are gluttons for punishment. It's all part of
I
the
was
experience,
literally
I suppose.
gonna climb around, but okay.
Over here!
There's also arrows here, and I didn't even bother looking. That was silly of me.
Why is my own clan treating me like a villain?
You've been away too long. We all have. Feels like we've been waiting forever.
We should be getting close.
Why is this place so full of junk? Are you the kind of people who never throw away the box when you buy something because you're worried you won't be able to return it without the original packaging? We'll never find the Oracle Pillars in all this mess.
Just break it all.
Never mind that. We have a more pressing issue. It seems there's a slight problem with my clan's family crest. The Marquis may need to utilize their wisdom to solve the issue.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Wisdom too, huh? Well, you guys have a bit of everything, don't ya? Except empathy.
Over here! I found it! Yes! Keep the noise down! We don't want to alert the guard. I'll go keep watch.
Aha, over there. Oh, it's in the... Okay.
This is the last one.
Galileo and Alberto did many good deeds again today, though it was most tiring to help the old lady on the bridge move her barrels of hard apple cider. They each got a small barrel as their reward. The moonlight was unobstructed and beautiful, and the two good friends climbed up the high wall that had been built to stave the evil dragon off. Alberto lost the rock, paper, scissors match, so he had to hold the barrel of cider until under the crook of his arm as they climbed the ladder. Look, this is the big house that our chubby chief was so proud of. Doesn't look so big from here, huh? Said Alberto, as he looked at the house. You're wrong, that's my home, said Gilio. The chief's house is that one. Alberto's night vision was not all that good, and moonlight could never compare to daylight. If one were to close one's eyes, the light could not be seen at all. He tried a little harder, but could discern nothing more. But it's also really small. Giglio continued, so there's nothing wrong with your statement. Giglio and Alberto were both rather perceptive people. Giglio's reply covered for Alberto's comfort regarding his poor vision, while Alberto also lost the rock, paper, scissors match on purpose so that he could carry the cider barrel because the gears under Giglio's ribs were injured. Here's to you. The two friends raised a toast. Once Alberto stuffed a cork back into the barrel. The next day, the two gathered everyone in the village plaza. First, they apologized for the collapse of the anti-dragon wall and told all the people that they were preparing to have a talk with the evil dragon. I know it was a lot of work for everyone to fix that wall, but we're not that fussed about it anyway, the chubby chief said. But are you sure you're not bragging when you say you knocked it down yourselves? Of course, that was not the chief's point. He too was a good person. He continued, also, it's too dangerous to seek the dragon out. Don't worry about us. And so the two best friends in the whole world departed. The evil dragon trembled before Alberto and Giglio. For some reason, the old lady's liquor could make people grow very, very large. That was how they accidentally squashed the high walls the previous night. As they gazed down at the ground far below, they more or less understood how the dragon thought. No wonder it could accidentally destroy the village at its feet. So long as they could get the dragon to notice people, they could surely come to an understanding. The two friends thus drank all the remaining magic cider, becoming even larger than the dragon by a good margin. Reeking of alcohol, they sandwiched the dragon between them and drunkenly tried reasoning with it. The dragon shriveled up in terror, all of its majesty and fell aura forever gone. Indeed, it even looked kind of pitiful. Alberto attempted to pick dirt off the scale on the dragon's back, but wound up picking off an entire scale. The dragon sought to flee, but Giglio, fearing that the crisis might persist for 10,000 years more if the misunderstanding was not cleared up, tugged its tail and dragged it right back. To be honest, we've always lived under your feet, but we are far too small, so you may not have ever seen us. Now we've transformed and become big, Giglio said. So now surely you must know that we dwell at your feet. The dragon nodded repeatedly, and thus did the two and the dragon chat all night. Believing the goal of mutual understanding achieved, the two set off along the road home. So it seems like each village was a different village. So it just could be a village along the path that dragon took.
The signature. So it's true. Empathy is one of the founding virtues of Constellation Metropole, too.
Just as we suspected, all three are the truth.
Okay. Well, this is a lot to process. I feel a little empty inside. Yes, we found the truth, but there's too much truth.
I get you. It's like in Inazuma, when there were only 6 books in the Mirage Warrior series, it was really popular. But by the time book number 88 came out, nobody wanted to read it. They all lost interest.
A brief moment of joy is drowned out by a growing feeling of melancholy. But perhaps there is a glimmer of hope to be found too? Anyone? Anyone? All right, I'll say it. How is it the case that these 3 versions of history can all be true at once?
That's exactly what Paimon was wondering, but Boborano kind of already explained it away earlier. So Paimon was worried she'd look stupid for asking the question.
It's not a stupid question at all, my dear little pixie. While I did postulate that different truths may coexist, there is an issue when it comes to these 3 truths in particular. The problem is, all 3 truths are the history of the exact same thing, namely the dragon and the Metropole's origins. Yet all 3 bear the signature, showing that they're genuine.
Suddenly, the sound of a bell rings out.
The bell! It rang once! What does that mean again? Ah, yes! Highest level of emergency! Everyone, to the main entrance! Stat! Bring all the glue traps and place them outside the gates!
The whole city is on the lookout, and there's only one way out. It's the path right in front of you.
Where's that bell and who the heck rung it?
Why'd they ring the bell anyway? Also, why is 1 ring the highest level of emergency?
Obviously because you have to respond fast when it's an emergency. It'd be a bit too late if they waited till the 99th ring.
This is a very easy one to get around. I don't even know why they bothered. Okay, here we go.
We made it out. Don't know if we'll still be needing this clockwork key, but I yoinked it out before we ran, just in case.
Okay, but back to the truth problem. There are 3 conflicting versions of the truth, and somehow they're all still true. What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I doubt anyone here in Simulanka can make sense of it. All we do know is that any manuscript bearing her signature has to be valid.
Well, she is the goddess of fate, the creator of all this. And all these manuscripts are her grand design.
The reason we argued about who was right was that we didn't know enough about the truth of the past. But now we have the truth. So we just have to accept it. As surely as we will follow the clockwork path designed for us, so is this the course that history has taken. It is clear and incontrovertible.
We will never argue again. Thank you all.
Is that all there is to it? Is this where the decision made at the first crossroads of destiny has led us to? A pointlessly happy ending? Overthinking it would be equally pointless. Well, that's enough for one day. Time to take a break.
Could you be any more cryptic? You're planning something. Paimon knows it.
Whatever happens, today was a breakthrough in my journey of discovery. I will go back and share it with my clan.
Me too.
And me.
Let's leave it there for today then. I'm sure we'll find out what else Mr. Narrator has planned for us tomorrow.
Yay. Except you still did not do a thing. Haven't used any resin yet. I guess maybe I'll do that later? Question mark? Nope. Nope, I need to do that one. So I guess I'm going to do that one next. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this segment of the Summertide Scales and Tales event, and I'll see you guys later!